In this video, you're going to learn how to use the optional map function when creating an array out of another object. Then you're going to learn how to create an array from any object with a length property. And finally, you create arrays from iterable objects like sets and maps. So let's start with the map function. So let's create a string . And let's create an array out of this string. So using the from method of the array objects. And here is our array. All right, so now there is an optional function that you can pass to the from method, and that's called the map function. So this function is very similar to what you pass to the map method, which you apply to arrays. All right. And you just apply it to the elements of the array before creating it. So let's say that this method will take an element x and will return x plus a comma, for example. All right. And you will see that you applied that function to all the elements of the array. All right. So that's what the map function is. You can also use the map or the optional map function instead of the map function itself. So although using the map straight away is better, but you can still do this. This is still correct. So you can apply that to an array. So we're not converting here another type to an array. We're just taking an array and we're using the map function straight away like that. So this is absolutely correct, but it's better to use the map function straight away. All right. Now, let's see how you can create arrays from any object with a length property. So we know that a collection, for example, has got a length property. So if you try to log collection dot length, you'll get the length property there. Now you can create an array from any object with a length property. So an object like this one has got a length property. Although it's not similar to an array or a collection, but it's got a length property. And consequently, you can actually create an array out of it. So if you do array dot from this object, this is going to create an array. So let's find out. So we're getting an array of 3 elements, and they're all undefined. Now, if you use the optional map function, so let's say that this function will take a value inside the array and will return 1, for example, then all these undefined are going to become 1 because you are returning 1. So let's try, and here you go. Now, the map function can take a couple of parameters. So the first one is compulsory, while the second one is optional. So the second one is going to refer to the index of the element inside the array. So let's say that instead of 1, you're just returning index multiplied by 2. So this time you get 0, 2, and 4. So first index is 0, multiplied by 2, you get that. Index 1, multiplied by 2, you get that, and so on. All right, so now let's move to sets and maps. So you can create arrays from sets and maps as well. These are iterable objects, and they also have a length property. So let's create a set using the set constructor. So, and let's add a few elements to our set. So if you remember, inside a set, you've got a collection of unique values. So if you log the set, you can see that you've got our set of 2 elements. Let's check that it's got a length property. So if you try dot length, it's not going to work. It's going to give you undefined because we know that we need to use size instead of length for a set. Okay. So now we can create an array out of the set using array dot from, and here we go. So now you've got an array of 2 elements. So the same thing applies to maps. So if you create a map using the map constructor, so to make things easy, I'm going to use an array which I'm going to pass to the map with the key value pairs. So let's have a pair 1 and 2, and another one 3 and 4. So if you log the map, this is what you're going to get. And to create an array out of the map, you do that the same way you did with the set. And here we go. So you've got a couple of elements inside the array, and each element is actually an array including the pair of the key and the value. Perfect. So hopefully this gave you a really good understanding of how to create arrays from other data types or other collections in ES6. So in the next video, you're going to have a look at another method of the array objects. It's the off method.